guys, it's Abby. Welcome to my channel, and yeah. I'm still not good at this intro stuff, you know. If you're new here, welcome. Like the video if you like it, subscribe, comment what ideas you would want to see from me to do next, which is possible in quarantine. Even if it's not, comment it. I might work something out. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, I was just thinking of making this video because no one really talks about the med application process. Like, it's low-key a secret. You find out so much stuff last minute, and I think that's because when you're going through it, it's so intense, there's so much stuff going on that you just want to get through. You don't want to talk about it, you just want to, you know, do your thing. And then afterwards, once it's gone, you want to forget about that. Why do you want to keep rehashing, you know? So I decided that I'm going to make this video to kind of tell you how things went for me, my timeline of kind of how my application happened, and hopefully that can help some of you lot work out when you need to start preparing for things. Obviously things are going to be a bit different in 2020 with the whole social distancing. Open days might not be happening when they usually would be. Different events might be turned around a bit, but like, just so you kind of have an idea of the general shape of things and you kind of can make sense of it a bit more, you get me? So this whole thing kind of started in year 12 because that's when I did my work experience, right? So I did 1 week in a hospital, which was really good, and I feel like if you can get hospital work experience, that would be really good, or GP practice, that kind of thing. But it doesn't have to be in that much of a clinical setting. Like, I know so many people who did it in volunteering in an old people's home, or work experience in a pharmacy. Like, I did a few days in a pharmacy, so did some other people. Anything you can get that you can relate some way to healthcare. It doesn't have to be I'm in a hospital, I'm in a ward, you get me? So that was kind of where it started, and that was during May of year 12. So next was the start of year 12 summer, when I did my UCAT. So I only started preparing for that at the start of summer. So during school time, I was not thinking about it really. I just kind of looked at 1 or 2 questions. But I started preparing for it in summer, and I did it at the start of August, which I explained in a lot more depth in my UCAT video, which you can look at as well. Even though I feel like all of the points I wanted to get across were low-key jumbled, but still. After my UCAT had finished now, I was obviously doing my year 12 work, because they set you some work in the holiday, because who knows. But yeah, I was doing my year 12 work, and I was also preparing for my personal statement. So summer was kind of just personal statement and UCAT, because the UCAS deadlines are different for medical students and Oxbridge students than everyone else. So everyone else has the deadline of 15th of January for my year, and then Oxbridge students and medical students had to have their application in by the 15th of October. So by the time you open school in September, there's only a couple of weeks left. So really and truly, you want to start your personal statement as early as you can in summer, so you can kind of write your first draft, get a few people you know to kind of read through it. If someone in your family can read through it, you can probably email it to your teachers and they can send you feedback as well. So what I did was I wrote my first draft. I had my dad go through it with me, and we kind of changed a bit for what he thought they would emphasize, because you think 4,000 characters is a lot, and you start writing, and the way you double, triple, times whatever the limit so quickly, it's mad. So you kind of need to work out what the priorities are in terms of that. So having other people look at it is really helpful, especially if you have people in school, because they would have dealt with past applications and they know what kind of thing the unis are looking for. So I did that at the end of summer. Also, I forgot to mention, during the summer of year 12, I also had open days. So what I would say about open days is, if you know there's a lot of unis that you want to go to, try go to as many of them as you can. Because for me, people know in June, July, I was doing up the tour of England. I was up and down. I went to Edinburgh, I went to Manchester, Birmingham, London. I went to London like 4 times, I'm telling you. It was crazy. But if you can, in terms of travel, maybe organize lifts with friends who are thinking of going to the same uni, just to like help save yourself some money. But I would say, if it's possible, go to all of the ones that you are thinking of going to, because for me, I thought I would really like Edinburgh, for example. I thought I would like it. I was like, it's a big capital city, it's like this and this and this, I'm gonna love it, I'm gonna love it. And I went there and I really didn't like it. So for me, I know that if I chose a university without seeing it first, I would feel really uneasy. But obviously it works out for some people, and it might end up if you go through clearing or something like that. But I feel like for me it was really important to kind of see all unis, get the feel of the cities and stuff, because I hadn't been to that many cities in the UK anyway. So just if you kind of know the area and stuff, I feel like it makes choosing a uni a lot easier. Okay, September comes now. So I was kind of finalising my personal statement during that period of time while starting the year 13 content. So that was kind of like where things started to pile up, because you need to spend time on that, yeah? So you spend time on the personal statement, time on year 13 work, make sure you've got it to like a level where you want it, because this is where things start. October comes now, UCAS deadline, so it's just final tweaks on personal statement. And also in October half term, I had my BMAT. So throughout October, I was preparing for that. Really and truly probably should have started in September, which I did a bit, but it's hard to do when you have in the same month personal statement deadline, BMAT, which you need to revise for, and year 13 content, which is not going away. So you always need to remember throughout the whole of this, you need to keep up with your subjects, because the way it's so easy to get lost in, I was about to say lost in the sauce of all of the uni stuff, because that's so much by itself. To then do on top of year 13 content, it requires a lot of time management, which is why I think this video could help someone, because it would help with knowing when everything is to work out your time management, because that's something that's really essential during year 13. And with BMAT, you don't get your result straight away like you do for UCAT, so I was waiting for my result until around mid-November. So in November, it's kind of just making sure my school stuff is still up to scratch after my BMAT, because once you start revising for multiple things at once, then one of them is gonna suffer a little bit. So I had to kind of get up with some of my other subjects again and start thinking about interview prep, because for me my first interview was in December. So November is kind of one of the more low-key months. December comes, I have my first interview, which is my Cambridge interview, which is the one I wanted to go to the most. So that was a pretty intense kind of period as well, because my first interview is the uni I want to go to the most, so I want to make sure I'm getting it right. So I did interview prep like crazy. Also mock revision in the Christmas holidays, because we had mocks in January now. So December's kind of just interview prep, even though I only had one interview within December. So in January I had the rest of my interviews and my mocks at the same time, and the year 13 content, because we're not stopped learning the year 13 content. So that, I would say, probably would be the most intense time of year 13 for me. If you don't know, there are MMIs, which are multiple mini interviews, which are a different interview style to the panel interview, where you have like 3 people, 2 people, whoever, interviewing you, and it's all like one set interview. So you have to prepare for those 2 different types of interview if your unis do both, as well as keep on revising year 13 content, keeping up with your notes, your flashcards, whatever you need to revise. And on top of that, to deal with mock revision, which is pretty important. And for me, I'd say I time managed as well as I could have, but I think it's inevitable. If you're a medicine student, you won't do as well as mocks as you probably think you could have done, because you need to give time to your interview prep. You can't neglect it. So I didn't do badly, but I didn't do as well as I thought I could do. So that is something to consider, because once interviews finish in January, February, my last was in the middle of February, you need to really get on your subjects, because that will be the only time throughout year 13 when you can really solely focus on your subjects without anything happening on in the background. So this February onwards was a grind time, living at the library, all of this and this. So make sure you get on it with your subjects. If you're kind of slacking in one specific subject or a couple, make sure you know what you need to catch up on when you get this extra time back. So this whole video isn't to say that year 13 is just work. You need to live at the library, you need to do this, you need to study 24/7, you need to all of that and the third. It's not like that. I feel like you need to remember, for most people, you're going to be living at home during this time anyway, and during uni a lot of people won't be. So kind of treasure the time you have with your family. Make sure you like spend your leisure time well. Plan out some rest days, some rest like periods during your day, which I can't say I was the best at doing, but I feel like it is very important because things are going to be very intense when you get to medical school. So kind of give yourself the time now to kind of chill and relax, when you don't have to think about paying for accommodation, you don't have to think about budgeting as much as you will do in the future, and just kind of enjoy your time in your hometown before a lot of people will be living elsewhere. Go to shopping centre, go cinema, go wherever, because
we feel like, well, damn, if you can't go to Bellinoche, what the hell could you go?
I think that's all I have to say today. I hope that helped someone a bit, just kind of make sense of what's happening. But yeah, thanks for watching. Stay safe everyone, and see you in my next video.